Felix Dickinson,
Right,
thank you very much for having me today.
pleasure. Thanks for coming.
For those who are watching who don't know who you are, you're kind of like seen as I suppose like a pillar of the disco scene and a pretty eclectic DJ, kind of fanatical record collector,
That's very nice.
and owner of Cynic Records.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Cynic. How long has Cynic Records been going?
Cynic, I started that when I moved up to London at the beginning of the millennium. And prior to Cynic, I had a label called Ugly Music, and that was mainly sort of releasing other people's music. I had a lot of connections in Chicago and stuff like that. But by the end of the 90s, I'd started making my own music, and I was just making quite a lot of it. And so Cynic was a way of releasing some of the stuff that I was sort of stockpiling, basically.
You said before that you have connections in Chicago, and how did you I've always got a sense when I've looked at your MySpace and I looked at your website that that you are a pretty well connected guy. And did that come out of doing parties?
I mean, I met people not from doing parties but from going to parties, really. That's where I kind of but the Chicago connection came from Ugly. My partner in that was a guy called Tony Lee, and he had this record shop in Brighton called Ugly Records, and I suppose he had connections through doing that, really. I got to go out to Chicago sort of mid-90s when I was doing Ugly.
Right.
And to begin with, I knew people like Kay Alexi and some other sort of lesser known people like sort of Underground Evolution and K Fingers and that, but when I went out to Chicago, I met more of them, I guess.
And what was the Chicago scene like then?
It was pretty crazy. The Warehouse was still going, but it was more kind of like an old social club or something than like the crazy hedonistic days you hear about. They're just like lots of old people, the old heads who had like obviously been there since time, you know what I mean, and they obviously maybe they had kids now or something like that. Mike Dunn was playing there.
Oh wow.
It was pretty incredible. He had like in the booth they'd have like maybe 300 or 400 records that were probably there since Ron Hardy was there or something like that, or if not there, but they were just the classics, they were the Warehouse classics. And like most of the tracks, there'd just be people singing along on the dance floor. Everyone knew these tracks inside and out, and dropping them out, people singing along, call and response. It'd be crazy. And then Mike would turn up with like a carrier bag with like a couple dozen tape cassettes in there of like edits that he'd done down the studio. Because there were the CDs down there, and so he'd put on cassette. Turn up, there's like a cassette player with a pitch control in there, and he'd just mix in his new versions of the classics. But other than that, it'd just be the same, Bring Down the Walls, Is It All Over My Face, just the same stuff that they've been listening to for 20 years or something. I mean, it never really went away, that's the funny thing. It's like everyone's really hot on disco now. I was at some club the other day and someone came up and said, can you stop playing this house music? It's a bit before my time, I'm into disco music. And it's like, huh? Like, disco's been around for ages and it never went away. And that's the thing some people forget, is that it has always been around, and house music was its child, and it's been played alongside each other for however long. And some people now are forgetting what it's, they're thinking disco or whatever, and they don't know that house music and disco are the same thing, basically. When house started, it was disco, and some people are getting a little bit too stuck on the whole genre thing, and maybe disco being so hot at the moment is just going to kill it like it did first time round, and it'll just get so trendy and everyone will want a disco mix, and before you know it, it'll go back underground again, and that'll be great.
I'll say that's just the natural evolution, isn't it? Yeah. So what's up for you next? What's happening in Dickinson world in the next few months?
Music wise, working with the Idiot Boys, who are going to be turning up later this afternoon. Working on some acid tracks for Droid, which are sounding cool. Doing some stuff with Jerry Rooney. We're going to put out some stuff as the Fist Club and the Milky Mouth Orchestra. So watch out for that one. Doing a lot of stuff with the Horsemeat Disco lot, right? So they're getting really busy now, and I'm sort of I've been working with them quite a lot anyway, DJing down the club, and I've been helping out a bit with their album that's coming out soon, and they're going to start doing some remixes soon, which I'm helping out with as well. So we're getting quite involved with what they're doing as well.
Yeah, that's a phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, they've really taken. They've kind of. They're doing parties sort of internationally now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they left. Jim and James left yesterday for Australia, New Zealand. Then they're going to do a bit in America, a bit in Mexico, sort of do a little world tour.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. The artist Lays Aeroplanes, and it's on Mathematics, which is kind of a cool label. I think it's from Chicago, run by Jamal from Hieroglyphic Being. But this, like Mathematics, usually is kind of techno-y.
Yeah, electro-y.
Yeah, like Adonis has done some stuff, and Steve Poindexter, Lil Louis, lots of, the daddies. Mathematics, generally Chicago. Impersonal Navigant EP. This is great record. It's kind of like slow, kind of mid-tempo-y, but just like really deep sounds, production, really kind of dreamy. Sort of breaks down and then changes tempo and turns into another song, and just like it's not just a track. Some people think that house or whatever. It's just like plod. This is got lots of textures and movement and drama or whatever. It's a great record, really good.
And that's Mathematics.
Yeah, Lays Aeroplanes.
Lays Aeroplanes.
Excellent,
and that's out now.
This is out now. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I'll definitely check for that. I'm still at Felix Dickinson's place. We've finished the interview now, but whilst I was here, peeking in the corner of my peripheral, I realised that he had a pretty awesome DJ setup. So I thought we should really go and have a look at that since we're here. So, I see. What have we got here?
Well, we'll start with customised Technics turntables with
arms.
hi-fi arms. This was made for me by a guy called Justin, who has this company called Isono, and he does like isolation devices for turntables.
Oh right, look at all of this.
Yeah, that's all custom mounted. He actually designed this base plate as well, so it's really nicely suspended or isolated from the deck and stuff. Then we go to the Bozak. This is like the first ever kind of DJ mixer. Dead simple. You know what I mean? It's really simple and sounds really amazing. Then that goes to my Isono EQ. This was made by Justin as well. He did the arms and the feet and everything. This has got like it's just an EQ, but it's really musical sounding, really sweet. Then go to my Audio Research amp. This is valve, but it's like a hybrid. It's half valve, half FET.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but it's
I'm
good.
just nodding along too.
It's nice, yeah. And then that all goes to my JBL speakers. These were originally designed for cinemas, and they're really efficient and sound really beautiful.
Excellent. Wow. Colour me green with envy.